All right, guys. John Lynch spoke on he does a he was with NBC, and
Yeah.
here's what he said about he had to say something. He let everyone else talk. He let Kyle talk. He let Jawan Jennings talk. Finally, John Lynch says something. He says there are basic rules, team rules, league rules. I can tell you as a team, we don't have many. The ones we do are very important to us, and when they're not adhered to, this is the first time it's happened in our tenure. We felt like we had no other recourse as to exercise those things. They didn't have a choice, according to John Lynch. And then finally, he said, we want nothing more than for Brandon to come back and be part of this team because he's a really good football player, and he's done a lot for our team, and we're very appreciative for that, and we're better when he's on the field. What do you make of that?
Maj, you want me to go first on this one? Because I feel pretty strongly on this.
You can go first. You can go first. You can go first.
I'm just going to say this. Dan Campbell, Sean McVay, all these coaches that are really, really good coaches. And yes, Dan Campbell's a good coach. Things haven't gone his way this year, but he hypes up his team. Maybe I'm too much of a rah-rah guy and military oriented in that sense. But like, if you disrespect my football team, you are never seeing that field again. And it seems like there's just a soft culture going on in the 49ers the past few years. I'm not even trying to hate Kyle running to John Lynch's office to get the Aiyuk contract done. Oh, let's give Brock what he wants, even though no one would pay him $35 million. Let's give him 55. Let's give him 53 plus, right? Oh, let's give Nick Bosa his money, which now looks like a decent deal if he can ever stay healthy. He's becoming his brother. He can't stay healthy to save his life. It's beside the point. The point is, real football teams don't adhere to stuff that if Brandon Aiyuk's disrespecting the team, hopping on his streams, doing that, they should have never given him the deal. But once they did, now you want him back after he's a bad locker room guy. You saw, I mean, Grant, you were there interviewing the players. There was some animosity between the players and Brandon Aiyuk. They didn't say it publicly. You could see it in their face when Jawan Jennings was asked about it, when the other players were asked about it. They don't like George Kittle specifically. They don't like Brandon Aiyuk right now. He's not buying into the team. Get him out of there. He should never be back. That's my point. And I don't care that he's the only guy who can beat man coverage right now. That's why Kyle wants him back. Well, figure it out. Sean McVay would figure it out.
So. Did you guys think when Brandon Aiyuk was going to get paid, did you honestly think he was still going to be a diva? Because I see people blaming John Lynch, saying like, oh, we should have never signed him. I thought once Brandon Aiyuk got the money, he wasn't going to be like this. So I don't really think you can be mad at John Lynch or Kyle Shanahan. That's just my opinion. Like, I understand Brandon Ayuk's an asshole and he's being really weird right now, but you can't really put that on John Lynch. Like, no one knew Brandon Aiyuk was going to be this much of a diva after making that much money.
I mean, he was sort of acting like this before he got the extension. He refused to bend the knee to Parag Marathe and the Niners just to act nice to get them. He refused.
Yeah.
And I mean, do you really think if you throw hella money at a headstrong, maybe immature 26-year-old, he's going to suddenly grow up? I don't think it works that way. I mean, I don't think he's really going to change. He's just going to lean into more of the person he's been. So look, I mean, was Brandon Aiyuk a jerk? Did he bring this upon himself? Possibly. I'm not going to let him off the hook. I don't know what he did or didn't do. I'm not here to defend Brandon Aiyuk. But is this organizational malpractice? I believe it is. I mean, if you decide to give a wide receiver $30 million a year, guess what? You got to treat him like a diva. He wants to wear red shorts. Let him fucking wear green shorts if he wants to wear green shorts. You decided that he's Justin Jefferson level. And honestly, if Julio Jones and Justin Jefferson were like missing a rehab or wearing the wrong shorts, you wouldn't care because you had Julio Jones and Justin Jefferson. It's your fault for paying him this much money if you really didn't think he was worth it. Because you created this situation. On the one hand, you give him the contract that says he's special. And then on the next hand, you're like, but don't act like you're special. We're going to bring you out. To me, I don't know. Tell me if you guys agree with me on this. I feel like there's two different factions and the Niners at play here. There's the football side and the business side. The business side never wanted to keep Brandon Aiyuk. The football side did because he's good. And I think that Parag got back at Brandon. I think Brandon beat Parag in this negotiation and probably rubbed it in his face. And Parag was like, okay, all right, well, let's see where things are at in a year. And got those voids, got those guarantees. Because it's like, look, you beat Parag on the negotiation, but who wrote the contract? Parag. Yeah. Who got out of it? Yeah. Parag. I don't know. And so look, if Brandon goes on to be a bad player, good for Parag. But if he goes on to be good somewhere, you got nothing for him, and you created this problem. I'm not sure why.
No, real talk though. How is Leeds United doing right now? Parag.
Good question. Right, they lost today, and they are third worst in the Premier League. They're 18th, which is
so they're going to get relegated.
Relegation. Oh yeah, they're only a third of the way through the season, but it's going poorly. And it doesn't seem like that's the big investment that Parag and the Yorks care about this year, because if they stay in the Premier League, all of a sudden they're a big time money stream for them. The Niners are a stable money stream.
I mean, theoretically, they still have what, 55 million in cap space in the Niners. So where's that going? Where's that extra money going? And think about it. Like, do you blame Jed York for not giving Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch money for this year, for this team? Like, I would have gone and gotten an edge rusher, but like the way they've handled these contracts the last few years and going all in at year after year after year and not winning a Super Bowl. Honestly, I know the fan base probably disagrees with me on this. I don't hate that Jed York was not confident in giving them a lot of money this year.
I mean, it seems like they wanted Dre Greenlaw, didn't get the green light from ownership. Seems like they wanted Brandon Aiyuk, that got nixed after a year. Yeah, I mean, it's a new era where it seems like Kyle Shanahan doesn't just get whatever he wants. He has to, like, coach his way out of this mess. And I think that's why people are sort of mentioning him in the conversation for coach of the year, because he didn't get a big move at the deadline and he didn't do anything big in free agency. Like, he and Saleh been working with what they got.
Yeah.
And they've been doing great at it, I think.
I mean, the problem is it's a wide open NFC. So, like, then the argument is like, why didn't you make a move? Because you look at how well the defense. I know it's the Panthers, and you know your cousin who's 8 years old could probably defend the Panthers at a decently high level, or your uncle coming home from the bar could probably defend half of those receivers when Bryce Young's throwing it straight to the defense. But like at the end of the day, they stepped up to the plate last week. We'll see how they play against the Browns. But like if the defense keeps playing well with those third stringers and second stringers on the field, one, Saleh might be gone, might be a Raiders head coach at the end of the year, which is one issue. And two, then it like you get to being 11-4 or 12-5 to finish the year. You're in the playoff race and you've matched up against Philadelphia or something, or the Bears in the first round. You could win that game. And then you're wondering, where's our extra edge rusher?
Am I the only one that thinks
Where's Brandon Aiyuk? Where's our number one wide receiver?
Yeah.
Am I the only one that thinks that Robert Saleh would be an idiot to go get a head coaching job?
Depends on the job.
That's what I'm saying. But he's
job,
he's gonna go to a shitty organization. Raiders are a shit organization.
What if he gets to go to the Ravens?
That would be okay. That's the only one. But all the other ones are gonna be shitty ass organizations. He's gonna go there and shit the bed.
Harbaugh, the only Super Bowl he ever won was against his brother, and he should have his playoff decision making and trusting Todd Monken. I know that's a separate team, but like he should have been fired years ago, in my opinion. John Harbaugh.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Saleh, if he ever left us, would be stupid.
Let me bring it back to Ike for a second before we go over there. Here's where I think, like, now that we've heard from Kyle and John, we haven't heard from Aiyuk yet. This is my best guess at like what happened in the timeline. Tell me if you guys agree. So I'm thinking it's pretty clear that Aiyuk skipped a rehab assignment that was like set up and supervised by the 49ers in the offseason, maybe more than one. And they voided his contract, his guarantees before training camp started. So this was stuff that was probably going on in June and July. And if you go back to his YouTube channel, which is still available, and look at his community posts, he was making cryptic posts about his money and wanting all the smoke in June. So I think this was playing out then, like, which is weird because that's usually when all the players are away from the team. So then he comes into camp, no guarantees, but instead of like complaining about it, he's there every day at camp. He's with the wide receivers. They say that he's like a coach in the meetings. He's in the meetings. So I don't know. Maybe he was trying to play nice so that maybe the Niners would give him back his guarantees. Maybe he was in denial. Maybe he think they were playing around since they didn't announce it. But then, you know, mid-September, October, he's still been out there with the team. They don't change their mind. And all of a sudden he stops showing up to meetings. He stops showing up to practice, and he stops communicating with with his players and coaches. So maybe the fact that they thought like they still wanted him to play this year. They wanted to clear him and showcase him so they could possibly trade him, but they didn't want to give him his guarantees back because they're done with him. And I think he said, you know what? Then I kind of refuse. Like, I'll do what I have to do, which is, you know, clearly rehab and stuff, but I'm not going to the meeting because I don't want to play for your team and I'm not getting ready for this season. Sorry. I think that's what happened. What do you think?
And I can understand that. I can. It's a twofold issue, and you brought up both problems. There's one problem where the organization is not on the same page as Kyle Shanahan right now. Obviously, Kyle Shanahan wants Aiyuk back and wants him because he desperately needs a guy to beat man coverage so Brock Purdy can look better.
He's a damn good wide receiver when healthy.
He is.
If he makes a full recovery.
Very good.
He's damn good.
The best separation numbers.
Not top 5, but top 10-ish.
10. Top 10.
One of the best David Lombardi stats, one of the great stats that he actually posted that didn't have to do with Brock Purdy after 3 interceptions. Oh, he was actually good. He made the right decisions. Was about Brandon Aiyuk's separation metrics. It was actually one of the useful things I found from David Lombardi's page a few years ago. He was beating man coverage very well. Shout out David Lombardi. Hopefully he can come on a Grant Cohn show and go head to head with him instead of swimming in the Pacific Ocean before. I don't know where he is now. There's no ocean right there in Cleveland. There's no
Lake
Pacific
Erie.
Ocean. There's Lake Erie. Maybe he'll post a video of that. I'm looking forward to it in his fake news. 120,000 views on his video. Back to the point though, like it's a twofold issue. Like the organization is not on the same page as Kyle Shanahan. And for Aiyuk's mind, Kyle's probably talking to him, mending that relationship throughout the year. And
I want you.
Right?
It's not up to me.
You're one in here. And John Lynch is probably like, fuck you. For a lack of better terms, he's like, you made us pay this money. I'm already mad at Kyle for running to my office when we had a trade in place for you. And now, you know what? Kyle wants you back. We voided this money already. Like, I don't know. So,
and maybe I want to align myself with Jed and Parag. Like, if someone's going to go down for this contract, maybe it'll be Kyle and not me. I mean, who has the power right now? It seems like Parag has the power. So maybe I'll align myself with him and let Kyle take the heat for this.
And if that's true, Grant, and I know Maj will talk about this, but like if that's true, like obviously I've been hard on Brandon Aiyuk. I think he has disrespected the team, and I would never personally allow him back out there. But I would also be angry as Brandon Aiyuk if one guy, my head coach, wants me to be out there and is getting me ready, and the organization's like, screw you, buddy. Like that's okay. Now you kind of see Aiyuk's side of things. The media is only portrayed as
I think it's super messy. I don't want to tell sides here.
Well, Mike Silver's always going to go.
Parag never wanted him. Kyle wanted him, and Parag sort of like signed the deal like while holding his nose, and was already had these outs in place. And then once he got hurt and started, I think Parag was like, "Look, we can get out of this contract. We can get out. Like, he's not going to show up to this. You know what I mean? Like we got it." And I think this is, to me, more about saving Jed and his parents' money than taking a moral stand or doing anything on principle or actually this would be about football. I think this is all about cash. And it makes me wonder, I know the Yorks are rich. They're worth billions of dollars, but all that money's invested. And a lot of it is invested in soccer teams, as we know this year. How much cash do they really have? How much liquidity? Because they keep selling 5% of the teams, 2% of the team. It seems like they need cash. Brandon Aiyuk requires cash. And, what a coincidence. He's gone.
He's gone.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. Also, the way it was reported by Mike Silver, who's obviously, really good, good relationship with Jed York, good relationship with John Lynch. Of course, that's how it's going to be reported. I am interested to see Brandon Aiyuk's side of this because
it doesn't seem like that's been put out.
No. It's always been pro 49ers with this situation, which I get in a sense, but like I do want to see what
he's not running to the pivot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I want Brandon Aiyuk to talk to the media.
Like he's just kind of chilling.
I want Aiyuk to talk to the media. That when that happens, that's gonna be sick.
He's just trying to not lose more money.
Yeah.
Hey, Grant, let me ask you this. Do you think there's a serious like avenue for him to play out of the bye?
That was my prediction before this whole shit went down.
Is there a serious avenue for him to play after the bye? I don't think he wants to. And I don't think he's the kind of guy who's going to do it to be nice. He just seems like a petty, headstrong person. And that's part of what makes him, an elite wide receiver. I don't think he's going to give in. He didn't give in the negotiation last year. And all of a sudden, he's going to tuck tail and be like, whatever you say, guys. Sorry. I just don't think he will, for better or worse. So I'm thinking he never plays again for the 49ers. And they could try to clear him after the bye week and put pressure on him to play. That would get real messy, and maybe they'll save even more cash. That would be great. Because anytime billionaires can save a few $1 million, that makes me sleep better at night. I hope Jed doesn't have to spend too much on Brandon. No, I wouldn't be surprised if this isn't over with. I feel like there's still haggling over millions of dollars. If he plays again, I'd be freaking shocked. How about you guys? How do you feel?
I'll be shocked. Yeah.
I don't think he plays. I think him and Cowan are both done with playing.
Dude, don't even talk about Cowan. That guy.
If you want to trade him last year, you get a second round pick for him. Now you're gonna cut him next year probably, and you're gonna have the whole fan base thinking that you were right because he's an idiot and he's a jerk and he's this and that. Man, you better freaking hope he doesn't bounce back in his career on Washington or Pittsburgh, because then you look dumb. You ruined the relationship. And like one more thing, the Niners are so adamant that but they're basically saying that he's lazy, right? He's not
Yeah.
taking his rehab serious. That's sort of what they're insinuating.
Yep.
Man, how many examples do we have of the Niners training staff rushing players back,
A
being
lot.
wrong about when a player's healthy? Like, forget Brock Purdy. That's the
Raheem
most
Mostert
recent
said
example.
that.
What about Christian? Last year? They cleared him for week 1, and Christian was like, I'll be ready in like 2.5 months. Left the country, went to Germany. They didn't question his laziness. They didn't say anything about him. So I'm not saying that Brandon is the same as Christian, but I can see from Brandon's perspective, like, man, I make way more money than Christian McCaffrey. Why are you treating me like a jerk when you let that dude go to Germany and call and determine when he was coming back? You don't trust me. You're going to tell me when I'm ready to go. Your track record telling players when they're ready to go is awful. Consistently.
Grant, didn't
getting worse.
Raheem Mostert say that same thing? Like that the Niners always rush people back from injuries? So like,
Yes.
I don't know
They
what it
rushed
is. I
back
don't
Brock.
know.
They cleared him 2 weeks after he got turf toe. 2 weeks.